So this has to be history of a first. It's absolute first. And I for one cannot believe we've just seen a match like this play out. Australia have lost a pink ball test for the first time ever.
Rally round the West Indies, indeed. I mean, what an inspiring performance by the West Indies. First time in 27 years that they have beaten Australia in Australia. For those people who don't know, when was the last time? 1997 Perth, when Curtly Ambrose took a 5-wicket haul and ensured Australia would lose that. They had won the series 3-2 already. But last time West Indies had beaten Australia in any kind of a test match was 2003. And 21 years later, whatever you say, 21 years later, 27 years later, Australia's pink ball dominance has ended. Just like how the Gabba fortress was breached 3 years ago, Gabba has again been breached for the second time, and this time Australia's pink ball aspirations have just gone for a toss, led by a guy who just bowled on one leg.
Shamar Joseph.
Shamar Joseph, 7 for 65, 7 for 68 rather. Steve Smith, he was seeking redemption for his rather low pink ball test standards. 91 opening, he could have at least given them the ultimate situation. But Shamar Joseph, brilliant 7 for 68. History has been made. Fire in Babylon has been rekindled all over again. And 2024, looking at
In this case, it's fire in Brisbane.
Fire in Brisbane. And remember, West Indies, we were looking at all kind of possibilities. As the target dwindled to single digits, we thought, okay, could 64 years later we have a tie at the Gabba? Remember, Australia, West Indies played out the first tie in test ever at the Gabba. But then, my goodness, Shamar Joseph, what a story. Gave up a job as a security guard in Guyana. Shane is going to do a special profile.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that one.
Yep, and not just that. With the bat, with the ball, Shamar Joseph, I mean, what kind of a debut would you want? 7 wickets with
Check.
the bat. With the bat, scoring very vital runs.
Check.
Wicket first over.
Steve Smith.
What more do you want as a cricketer? And that's why West Indies, you could see the celebrations. They had just run outside the boundary and there were tears all around. Because remember, West Indies had always wanted to win in Australia. I mean, more than England. They've beaten England consistently. But today, they have managed to beat the Aussies.
In Australia.
That too after a gap of nearly 3 decades. I mean, this is monumental. Whatever way you look at it, it is monumental. And continues Australia's very low run, I mean, if you may say, the slightest margin of victory, be it 1 run, 1 wicket, under 10, Australia dominate. Australia, if you look at the list of the closest margin of victories, it has always been Australia on the receiving end. I mean, last time I remember about 13 years ago, they lost by 7 runs to New Zealand, who, by the way, were also winning against Australia after a gap of 20 years, by the way. And then, if you look at it, they lost to India by 1 wicket, West Indies by 1 run and 1 wicket in 99 and 1993. Now, just by 8 runs alone. And you felt as if, okay, they needed 156 at the start of the day. Okay, we all felt that Steve Smith was looking comfortable. We all thought that maybe West Indies are a bowler short. But man, oh man, Shamar Joseph, I mean, he just turned the match on its head by getting Mitchell Marsh out, by getting Cameron Green out. Green anyway was struggling to lay bat on ball yesterday. And today he did. But look at this. Travis Head, gone for a golden pair. Your WTC final winner, your World Cup winner, Travis Head, if he wanted a clutch situation, he failed for the first time, out for a golden pair. And I often wondered why Steve Smith was giving strike to Hazelwood for 2 deliveries. Previous over, okay, Alzari missed his length, that's why short, Hazelwood could survive. But one delivery that came back in, it was simple, full, straight at the stumps.
And
Shamar Joseph does it. And that's why I do agree with a lot of our family members, Syed Basel in particular, saying that yes, it was a very, very foolish decision of Smith to go. But he was also audacious. What a ramp that he had.
He should have actually stuck to doing that. I mean, you didn't really there weren't that many runs. So farm the strike, and you note for a fact that, the tactic that they were trying was a pretty obvious one.
Yep.
The field was so back, you knew they were only going to target or pepper them with short balls. And okay, say whatever you want about Smith, he's not a bunny to short balls.
Yes.
He's not someone who struggles with short bowling. Yeah, at times he's been caught on the head once or twice, but then that's also to which bowler? Jofra Archer.
Yeah.
And Archer's a fearsome bowler. No disrespect to an Alzari or a Shamar Joseph, but they're not on that level. Not yet anyway. So again, the only bowler who's really troubled him with that tactic is Jofra Archer. I didn't understand the need for that tactic. And see what it is that gets you the wicket. It wasn't a short ball that got you the wicket.
Yes.
It was a very good conventional test ball. One that you just about get to angle into the left-hander.
Yeah.
Perfect ball. Absolutely well done in that regard. But I did think maybe Steve Smith should have just farmed the strike. There was
Should have
no
farmed the strike,
need. There was
yes.
no need to give away those runs.
Yeah, you could have just taken a single of the last one. I mean, I know that many people are shunning convention nowadays, but such conventions now, yeah, you have to follow it. But now, the broader picture of this test match loss. Was it necessary for Pat Cummins to declare when they were 22 runs behind?
289 for 9.
Declared.
Why? I mean, we criticized Ben Stokes for declaring in that first Ashes test. And that was, in fact, a very valid one because if they had to go on further, who knows? Same thing here. If you had 9 wickets down, why the hell do you need to declare? Again, conventional wisdom suggests you just stick with it. You go about, let's say, go about getting as many runs as you can until the opposition bowl you out. You don't need to declare. You declare if you are very comfortable. I don't think you were that comfortable.
And anyway, remember, Australia were always playing catch up in this test match.
Correct.
I mean, they had reduced the West Indies to 75 for 5. But who are the key heroes in this? Cavem Hodge. Now remember, Cavem Hodge is the batch of 2012 in the Under-19 World Cup. So he finally made his debut about a decade later and he shared a very vital partnership with Joshua Da Silva. Now that partnership, 79 and 71 from both Cavem Hodge and Joshua Da Silva ensured that they got to over 300. And the middle, I mean, if you look at it, the tail also contributed with Kemar Roach hanging in there and getting him past to 300. So in that sense, 311, it was done. Then Australia were reduced to 24 for 4 and it took some spectacular hitting from Alex Carey and then from the others to ensure that 289 would be made. But then that declaration, and then suddenly Australia, that catastrophic last session that West Indies had, it gave Australia a slight toehold. But yes, wickets kept tumbling. This was a typical Gaba wicket which had bounce, pace, swing, and with the ping ball under lights, it was supposed to do that much, and it happened. Shamar Joseph, I mean, 7 for 68. The most famous 7 for 68 that I can remember is Winston Davis when he picked up that many wickets in the World Cup. That was 7 for 58 rather, but this is 7 for 68. Fantastic display from him and batting with a broken toe. Remember, his toe was split open. That's what the commentators had stated with that stark in-swinger, that Yorker.
A literal definition of a toe crusher. There's your
Toe
answer.
crusher. But then, even with a broken toe, he bowled 147 kmph. That is the determination of this man. And because of that, he's taken 5 wickets in both innings. He's got 12 wickets on debut.
12 wickets after just one test match.
One
That's
test match.
Phenomenal.
That too, great stuff with the bat also. And that's why, as Dhanush was pointing out, yeah, this win is very vital because 21 years later, you won a test against Australia. But 27 years later, you won in Australia. And as I mentioned, many people who are joining us would have been too young to remember that Curtly Ambrose had taken a 5-wicket haul. And that too, that was an absolute abomination of a walkout wicket. I mean, one was right up here, the other was ankle. That was how it was. It was a shooter. So that's why, yes, as I mentioned, Shane is doing a story on Shamar Joseph. You check that out very soon.
Whenever that's up. Also, just remember one more thing. This is, by the way, a West Indies team, a West Indies cricket team that for, I think, a long time now has pretty much given up on Test cricket. And when I say team, I don't just mean the players. I even mean the fans. Have you ever watched a Test match taking place in the West Indies? You'd think you were watching a domestic game because the number of fans that are there are non-existent. It's very few. This is the kind of win that this team desperately needed. Again, a lot of youngsters in this team, a lot of players who weren't really that. Let's say they didn't have much experience. Someone like a Shamar Joseph, I think, he's played 6 first-class games. 6 first-class games, and he's getting a Test debut. I mean,
that's the thing. Guyana Amazon Warriors from Guyana. It would be a very proud moment. I mean, 1988, in West Indies had won at the Gaba. After that, they didn't lose for 31 years, Australia, until Rishabh Pant said that Gaba ka ghamand would be
now
broken.
again?
And now, I would not say ghamand, but see, freaking awesome saying Cummins took West Indies easily and declared when he was at the crease and trailing. There was no rush to declare. The test win in Australia after 1997.
First test win, he means?
Yeah. This is the 4th test victory for West Indies Gabba, but
Wow.
freaking awesome. I don't agree with the fact that Cummins took West Indies easily. He wanted to get the game going, and I kind of understand the rationale because it had happened in 2012 also. Australia were trailing behind the West Indies. They declared. That was Michael Clarke at that time at the Kensington Oval. West Indies had a similar collapse. You needed a cool head in Michael Hussey to get you through, and that's why. And Piyush Nandre, I don't agree with that. Overconfident, no. They were trailing well behind. They wanted to make something happen. West Indies got that. They bowled out for 184. They just had lead of 22. But what happened is Australia's top order suffered a catastrophic collapse. Both innings, if you look at it, has been a catastrophic collapse.
And not helped by the fact that arguably one of their best middle order bats in Travis Head, as we pointed out earlier in the show,
Golden pair.
Golden pair. Means he's gotten out to a golden duck in both innings.
Both innings. I mean, karma can really hit you back, and as the higher you are in success, the bigger you are when you're going to fall. And Travis said, I mean, when he got out, I mean, this is the kind of situation made for Travis Head. So that's why, yes, I mean, Rajdas Gupta, you got a very good this thing. Greaves, Sinclair, Athanas, Kirk McKenzie, they're all the next batch. And
you would hope that they, for the sake of West Indian cricket and for the sake of world cricket, that they stick to Test cricket, because again, the incentive for not being a Test player in the West Indies is very, very high.
Yep.
So you would hope they stick to it. You would really hope they do, because again, there are good players there. It's the talent system or the scouting system or the domestic system might be a little broken, but there are enough players seeping through that can actually make them competitive. You'd hope they stick.
Yep. So that is the situation, and
What a
wonderful day. As I said, if cricket has to survive, a good West Indies is very, very necessary,
absolutely.
and that's why West Indies, the last 4 months after the fall of the World Cup, they can only go high. Now they are staging a big recovery at this point, winning T20 series against South Africa, winning against England, and now they have managed to beat Australia in a Test match. T20 World Cup, can the Windies get the fire back? And remember, fire in Babylon is being ignited all over again. So that is the situation that we've got. Fantastic end to what has been a fantastic Test match.
Absolutely.
West Indies win by 8 runs, 1-1. That is the thing. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Tap that bell icons to know when we go live. And from me and Shane, it's bye-bye. Don't forget to download the Sports Talk mobile app for all the information you need.